And there are so many founders or entrepreneurs that just have that ability to be able to jump between different projects, tasks, and it's not for everyone, right? There's some people that are just focused, like, this is it. This is what I but if you're not that type of person, you have to draw strengths from all the different things that you're doing in order to make each specific one work.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that key strength that you are pulling to use between each one of those? Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Entrepreneurial Truth. On today's podcast, we have Jacqueline Penna with us. Jacqueline, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this conversation.
Oh, so am I. Okay. Jacqueline, can you tell our audience about you, the business that you have, and who you serve?
Yeah, so I'm Jacqueline Penna, founder, president, CEO, many hats of Empowerment Through Education. We're an educational consulting firm. We partner with all kinds of institutions, K through 12 and higher ed, and we focus on helping those institutions with student success, whether it's grant writing, evaluation, implementing programs, professional development, strategic planning, accreditation. We kind of do it all, as long as we're always looking at how does this impact student success.
Oh, I love that. Okay. And how long have you been in business?
Yeah, so this firm we've had since 2020. Literally, the launch was January 2020. Yes, 3 months before the lockdown. But it was a great challenge for us to pivot what we originally thought was going to be this firm. I have experience with other small businesses, other consulting, and we're in the food industry, so I can speak about many different kinds of experiences. I know today we're going to speak about empowerment through education, but know that I bring all those other hats to the table as well.
Awesome. And guys, everyone listening, this is awesome, right? When you have a founder, an entrepreneur that has done several different types of business, and the ability to be able to pivot, I'm going to dive into some of that for you, right? So let me ask you, what was the genesis? Like, why did you create this business?
That's a great question. And it ties to my belief that you really can't separate the founder and the main person in the business from the business, and how you make decisions. And that's why I like to look at both when I work with others in their businesses. But in 2019, about a year before the pandemic, I took a break from traditional work. I had all kinds of positions in higher ed, faculty chair, dean, executive director, all kinds of things, assessment coordinator over a long period of time. And I've been working in higher ed for about 27 years now. And at that time, it was like, okay, I've been working since I'm 12. In other areas, I've never taken a break. There's a lot going on in the family. Let me go back to, I've never taken a break. Even in college, I had 3 jobs. And I thought, okay, this is the time for me to take a little break and I'll come back in a year. But life had a different plan. I ended up becoming a caregiver towards the end of that year, and to a parent who had Alzheimer's, and he was a very violent Alzheimer's patient. And so my role transitioned. And at that time, I wanted to keep working with schools, and opportunities were coming up. So I created a consulting firm that would allow me to have a flexible schedule that's remote, so that I could be the caretaker I needed to be in a difficult time and do the work I'm passionate about. And it just worked out beautifully. The pandemic came, but it actually was the right timing, because we were already looking at how do we serve clients differently than traditional in-person roles. And so from there, we just kept taking off.
Oh, I love that. And the clarity around what you were developing, like, how did you flush out exactly what it needed to look like in order to be able to do the job?
Oh, good question. So I knew I wanted to serve students in some way. And I knew there were gaps in institutions. Sometimes they didn't have a kind of an undergraduate research program that they needed to have, and they didn't have the people to be able to do that. They didn't have the bandwidth, but they had a grant to help support that. So then I knew I can come in and do that. So I designed it around this idea where we can come in temporarily integrate into your institution, provide the support you need for that student success initiative, and be able to pull out, because we coach and teach everyone everything and leave the tools. If you want us to pull out, now we can keep running the program. So that approach worked beautifully and allowed us to be nimble because we were flex. We were just nimble and moving with the needs that happened through the pandemic and after. Then we made some mistakes. And I think it's important to know this. We overstretched ourselves, right? The pandemic, I have a business hat on, right? There were lots of small businesses that were struggling at the time. And I'm also passionate about culture in the workplace and human resources and operations. And I think I could have done some of that on the side, but I integrated it into empowerment through education for a little bit. It made sense because we were also training people in these things, right? Empowering them through education. But I think we moved too quickly, and I had a great team, and they allowed us to stretch each other a little across all these different kinds of clients. So I always say, make sure that you decide what your mission and your vision are, and try to stay as true to that as possible. And as a founder, you can bring new things, new strategies strategically into your organization. But sometimes there's some things that might be something you do as yourself, right? So now I might do speaking gigs as myself. Maybe I'll lead a retreat as myself rather than bringing it to empowerment education. So you just have to make some decisions. And if you're going to pivot or grow, make sure it's the right kind of growth and that you're ready for it. So it was a little bit too fast, and it was a lot of different pockets. And so we said, okay, now let's streamline a little bit. Let's bring it back to the core. What did we learn? Let's grow this part more instead. So we use that as a learning opportunity too. But always the word of advice: know how you're going to grow.
And did you bring in any mentors at that time?
Great question. I've been very lucky. I have an interesting tribe. So many different people around me who work in the leadership space, who work in the higher ed space, who are small business owners. And we have the opportunity that we can just have a cup of coffee and talk about this issue, this growth issue, and how are you handling this. And I think it's important for you to have your tribe. But when you have a small business, when you're the founder, the CEO, and everything else, your schedule looks a little crazy. So you have to be intentional about maybe not taking any meetings before 10. So you can have those coffee meetups with your people in your tribe, with your mentors and at board of advisors, if you decide to have one personally for yourself or whatever you want to call them. It's great to have them, but you need time to talk to them. So definitely create your tribe or your group, or have your board of advisors, your personal board of advisors, or your mentors. But definitely make sure you protect your time and leave some time for that kind of conversation, so you could touch base and mentor each other, because they also want to hear from you.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And then, okay, so that touches a little bit into boundaries, right? In order to be able to schedule on your calendar, you have to set clear boundaries. What are some of the most important boundaries that you've set in order to be able to function as both a founder and a human and daily life?
Yeah, boundaries are tough for me. I'm not going to lie. I'm the kind of person who sets them up and then kind of always breaks my own rules, right? But I'll be honest, the first thing I do is I protect my mornings. I didn't do that before in all the roles I had. I learned that when I was a caregiver, right? Because I had to make sure that my father ate and had his medication and was okay, so I could do my first set of meetings. And in his transition, his passing, I've kept those habits, because if I protect my mornings, I can work out. I can think strategically about the day. I can have that cup of coffee with someone. I can just take care of business, and I don't wake up into crazy land, into all this hecticness, the 100 emails. I do clear my inbox in the morning, but I do it calmly with a cup of coffee. Okay, I'll take care of this at 10. So I do protect my mornings because I found that's helpful. Sometimes I do have to do certain things in the mornings, but in general, I try to protect just a couple of hours in the morning for myself and for the business, and to do the proposals and that kind of stuff. That's a big boundary. Another one that's very effective, and I'm actually going to teach this to in a leadership workshop I'm leading soon, is you need a block of time to take care of stuff that is falling through the cracks, right? We just keep putting it on next day's list, the next day's to-do list. But what if every Thursday morning, or every Thursday 2 to 4, or every Friday, well, I wouldn't wait till Friday, but maybe a Wednesday or Tuesday or Thursday, block off some time, and that's just let me catch up time.
Mm-hmm.
And protect it. Don't put meetings there. Use it to catch up on anything that's falling through the cracks for the week that you need to get done in order to have a successful week. If everything's fine, if you're caught up, then use it as strategy time. What can you move earlier? What can you do strategically for your organization? How could you use that time to think forward? So block off that take care of stuff time for things falling through the cracks. But if everything's okay, use it to think forward. How can I plan forward?
Awesome. Awesome. Wow. I love that. I love that. And thinking forward, right? So you scale the business and then you retract it because you're like, okay, you know what? I need to separate this. If you're looking down the road at scaling, what are you going to implement now that you didn't before?
I love the question. And actually, let me tell you something, because some of you might be thinking, but I need to make money, right? And when you have employees, which was my case and still is, I was nervous. I want to make sure I took care of them. So that's also why we stretch a little thinner than we needed to in a complicated time. By scaling back a little bit and taking the time to say, who are we really? Are we staying true to our mission? Do we need to enhance the mission? And then what about the services we're offering? By doing that, believe it or not, we've actually more than doubled our revenue last year from previous years. Mm. And the reason is because now we're focusing on the projects that not just matter, but they're truly aligned to the mission, and we're not confused, and we're not trying to figure out this new venture, and we're not adding 10 different things on the wall, like throwing spaghetti to see what sticks because we need to make more income, and then we're adding 3 more things to our plate. We were very strategic and focused on key areas. So for us, we think of them as departments. We focused on grant writing, grant and program evaluation. Those are our 2 big departments. And along that, we do a lot of content stuff, and then program implementation. So those are our 3 big pieces of what we do. And we do strategic planning, but we decided to just grow those 3. And now we're doing more strategic planning, right? So we've set ourselves up and more professional development. So we're looking at 5 areas. But again, we said these are going to be our areas, but let's just focus on 2 or 3 and make them as strong as possible. All right, now we're ready to throw in more professional development, and let's make that as strong as possible. All right, now we're ready for strategic planning, and it's okay. Don't do everything at once, which is usually my personality, especially when I have coffee. I'm like, okay, don't do everything at once. Every 6 months, maybe. Launch the next one or grow the next one. That has been a very successful strategy for us.
Wow. And when you do launch it, how are you testing it in the market?
We a soft testing. We might take a client first, and we'll have more than one team member involved, because I want the team to grow and also feel comfortable, and they're always learning and growing. The team members, I like to assign one team member to each project along with me, so that we're working together, and then I kind of let them take the lead and make sure they're okay, especially when it's a new service or a new product, right? So we do that. We test it. We test the ops, what's working, what's not. I have weekly meetings with my team members. We miss once in a while, a week here or there, but we keep it on the calendar so that we have that flexibility. We need to miss a week. And in there, I embed coaching and I embed some strategic time. It's not transactional. It's about, okay, what's working with our evaluation workflow? Where do we need to enhance it? Where are the bottlenecks? Am I the bottleneck? Because sometimes I'm the bottleneck, right? Okay, how can I improve things faster? Do you really need me to approve that? Maybe we could change the workflow and you can take care of it because you're the lead. So we look at all those pieces with that first client or 2, and then we still keep trying to enhance the workflow, but that first client or 2 in that new service are kind of our pilots, right? To ensure we have the strongest workflow and service possible.
And do you ask that specific client, hey, are you okay with the service? Did you like it? What would you have changed? Do you get feedback from that client?
Yes, yes. And actually I'm behind on one client because we already closed the project, but I know she'll still give the feedback. So I'm okay. But once we close the project, we've invoiced, we get paid. I do love to send a thank you. I also like to tell clients, the project's over, but that doesn't mean we've disappeared. Because sometimes something might come up related to the project and they might have a question or they might have to submit a report to a supervisor. So I let them know we're here. We haven't disappeared, but our project is done. Thank you so much. And here's a survey. And in the survey, they get to pick who they've worked with. They get to say something about each person they work with. They talk about our workflow, our response time, our communications. I want to hear it all because I want to use that feedback to enhance the workflow. For us, it's important for small businesses to also get input that we can share with the world, right? Because this is a
Mm-hmm.
social media world. So I
Mm-hmm.
used that survey to get like a testimonial and permission to use it on our website and our social media. We weren't good about that before. So
Mm-hmm.
I have great input, but I don't have permission to use it. So now
Right.
I'm integrating that into the survey.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like I definitely know what you're saying, right? So we're always asking for permission. And the only way for companies to really grow productively is to really ask the customers that are using the service, hey, did you like it?
Yeah. Yeah. Is the information clear? Did you like the service? Did we respond the way you needed? What could we have done better? What did we do that you liked? Get the pros and the cons, the good and the bad, so that
Mm-hmm.
you get an affirmation as to what's working, but then you can see, oh, I can improve this area of my workflow.
Awesome. And are you implementing right now any new strategies or AI or automation that you like that you would think that, listen, this has really made a vast improvement in our workflow?
So it's kind of funny. We're actually in that process right now of analyzing workflow. So by the end of March, probably is when I'll do a pull back. I always pull back for a little bit when things are not crazy with
Crazy.
grants, things like that. Yeah. So I always schedule like this week or two where I'm just going to pull back. I'm going to walk extra because I think better when I walk. And I'm going to really look at our business and look at enhancements. And what we want to see is how do we enhance our business and our workflow using AI, but still keep, this is the
That
thing,
human touch.
we're customer focused. We customize day to day to our clients' needs. We're
Mm-hmm.
almost like therapists. We help them through grant issues, through program issues. Hey, I'm your grant therapist. This isn't a big deal. Let me tell you why. And I don't want to lose that. So we've had little automations right now. Like I don't have to pay an assistant or spend 30 minutes back and forth on email to schedule a meeting. I use a
Mm-hmm.
Calendly and it creates a Zoom link and that's it. It's done. That
Mm-hmm.
used to be time consuming. We have to talk on the phone. Okay, are you free on Friday? You're not. Oh, we got rid of that. Our workflow, our project management workflow and things like that, I would like to automate it better with AI so that once we move to another area, like we use Trello. I want to do a better job of automating so that things get triggered. When I say that, meaning an email gets sent out saying, tag, you're it now. Jackie already has the contract and you're ready
Mm-hmm.
to go. And we do have some of that workflow like that already. We have templates for welcome emails to our clients once we have, so, we have a proposal, then there's a contract, and then the lead team member has a template to say, hey, I'm so and so. I'll be working directly with you, with our CEO. Our pictures are in the email. The process is there. Let's set up a meeting to kick off the project. So we have those workflows and templates there, but I want to do better. I think we could do a little bit better.
Awesome. Awesome. And okay, in starting this business, right? You're in the middle of it right now, right? The business is scaling, it's doubled. Are there any things that have come up that you wish in hindsight you had prepared for that you would go back and tell yourself, hey, listen, before you get here, this is what you need?
Yeah. It's funny because we're looking at how we morph a little bit more, pivot, and looking at talent. So I'm going to say this: you can't do it all, and I'm the kind of human who sometimes will
Super.
do it all for a little bit, right? And then I'm like, all right, let's pull back. And I love to see ET. I know we're about clients, but we're also about helping talented individuals who need flex remote schedules because of life circumstances, who need that or thrive better in that way. to be able to have opportunities to work, learn, and grow in ET. So that's another piece to it. So that's why there's coaching embedded in our weekly meetings. Looking at all that, I wish I had looked at talent and human resources a little bit differently. Understanding what are my true needs. Do I really need a program evaluator, or do I need a program and evaluation specialist? Do I need an HR person? Maybe not, because we're not that big. So looking at what kind of talent you truly need, what team members you truly need. The only problem is you can't bring them all at the beginning, because
Right.
you're a growing
Right.
business,
You're a
right?
growing business. Correct.
You don't have enough work. You don't have enough money to take care of all these people. So that's the hard part, is how do you bring someone on board, and maybe it's part-time and then they scale up. Maybe you have to have 2 or 3 part-timers. Maybe you have a full-timer and 2 or 3 consultants who pick up key projects as they come in, but you don't want to lose them when there is no projects. You have to keep those consultants or contractors connected. So you have to be very strategic about talent and team members. I wish I had done that a little bit differently at the beginning. I'm excited about our next iteration. I'm excited about what we've done in the last few years with that. And I'm excited about what we're going to do next with that, looking at potentially a program and evaluation specialist who knows programming and so they can work in 2 departments and can grow. And we can flip 40, 60, 50, 50 on the workflow. I think that's going to be really a good position for someone.
Oh, I love that. And then, so you have this business, right? How does this business compare to the other businesses that you have in terms of similarities? So in business overall, what are the similarities?
Question. Yeah. So personally, I have the podcast. I have a book publishing company, Discover Your Strength Press. I've done fractional work in the HR side under Jacqueline Penna Consulting. So lots of little hands and pots and things like that. And my family businesses are fried chicken, Jacqueline's Fried Chicken, and grocery stores. And then we added on tax and accounting. So we have a Jacqueline Business Services for tax and accounting. Those are family businesses, and I've helped in different ones over time. So I've learned a lot of skill sets. So those are very different from, the tax and accounting might be a little bit more similar because they do fractional work for companies in that sense. But if we look at the stuff I manage myself, and I do, I decided empowerment through education should be its own entity. It's not Jacqueline Penna empowerment. Jacqueline Penna's empowerment through education. It's its own entity. We are ETE. This is our identity. This is what we do. And we have different amazing team members who do great work in the schools. And we do that kind of consulting work. And then I still keep my Jacqueline Penna Consulting, where someone wants me to come do retreats or workshops as Jacqueline Penna. If someone needs fractional services, like an HR quarter-time person to help restructure the HR in a company or operations, because I bring that small business background, then they can hire me personally through there while I'm running Empowerment Through Education that has an amazing team working on different projects. I know that sounds very complicated, so that's why I say you have to know your founder. You have to know yourself and your business to decide.
Yes. And there are so many founders or entrepreneurs that just have that ability to be able to jump between different projects, tasks, and it's not for everyone, right? There's some people that are just focused, like, this is it. This is what but if you're not that type of person, you have to draw strengths from all the different things that you're doing in order to make each specific one work.
Yeah.
What is that key strength that you are pulling to use between each one of those?
I'll tell you my why is the key one, and then I'll tell you something about my personality that makes this right for me, even though people might think it's a little crazy if they like to be more focused, right? So the first thing is I know my why, and and it's why I was passionate about the field of education, even though I had the experience in small business, and it's because I want to help others succeed. right? And I always talk about, empowering individuals and organizations to succeed. That's my why. I love to teach. I like to help people grow. I like to see them succeed and just keep growing and do these amazing things. I love bumping into students 20, 30 years after I taught them. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at you. You have your businesses and your houses and that's my why. That's what fuels me day to day. That's what helps me wake up. So it makes sense. All these entities I talked about that I work in personally are about that why, right? I'm leading retreats and workshops to help people with some kind of strategy in their lives, or sometimes some coaching too. There are a lot of people who reach out for coaching for pivots in life. With the publishing house, all our books are about Discover Your Strength Press, right? Maybe it's about reflection for growth. Maybe it's about things that empower you as students. Maybe it's strategies for you to help your students better. But it's all about discovering your strength and using it, paying it forward. And ET is about helping students by helping the organizations that teach the students. So my secret, my strategy is that it's all tied to my why. I don't have 50 whys. I have one why, right? And it's all surrounded that. The secret to my craziness is that I am a multi-hyphenate, right? So I'm passionate and enjoy different things. I used to be in acting. I used to actually get paid to act. That's a whole other story. I've been in education. I know small business. I'm passionate about creative writing. So there's so many things I dabble in, and real estate too. We're also in real estate. So it comes together because I like those things as a multi-hyphenate, and I feel comfortable jumping from one to the other. Not everyone is comfortable doing that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And as a multi-hyphenate myself, let me ask you a question. How does your family and people around that know that you do all those million things, what did they say to you, and how did they react to you being in all these different roles?
That I work too much. They see everything I do as work, and I left my traditional full-time role because they felt that, we all felt it was just very strenuous hour-wise and things like that. And now they see me and they say, she just works too much. She doesn't know how not to work. The thing is, not everything I'm doing is work. Maybe 4 hours are empowerment through education, but maybe 2 is writing some great articles that I want to share with people. For me, that's not work. The work I do empowerment for education doesn't always feel like work. It just feels like, hey, this is what I do. So I think we just see things differently. And they want me to rest, and they want me to work less and do something else. I'm like, what else will I do if I'm not reading or writing or working with people? I watch Netflix, I watch movies, I listen to audiobooks, I go for walks, I do Irish Theory, I go on vacation. To every vacation you invite me to. I can't do that with a traditional job. I can't travel every month. That's the other thing, is that you have some flexibility. You can build that in your life. And I get to travel multiple times a month for work and for family. So, but they still say you work too much. You just can't make them happy. And that was a hard lesson. That was such a hard lesson to learn and to accept. You have to find what makes you happy. Because no matter what change you make, they were all unhappy. I left my job. They're still unhappy. You're just never going to make people happy. Focus on what makes you happy and live your best life while helping others, while being thinking about community and compassion about others, but don't live to make them happy. Just be present for them, but don't live to make them happy, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think too, just knowing your why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And also, I've also heard a lot, and I believe that if you are happy doing what you're doing, then it's not work. Yeah. Right? So it's not work. You're truly happy about helping and serving. So it's never going to be work for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's always going to be enjoyable. And that was important to me. I wanted to do things that make me happy. And I always want to do things that I'm passionate about, that rather than doing things because of the money and that you don't care about it. Money is important, don't get me wrong. I just wanted to really focus on, because we have to pay bills, right? But I really wanted to focus on every decision in life and the roles I've taken. I want them to be about things that are important to me and make me happy, and that I'm doing things I love. So teaching or working in a fractional role or doing the work we do in empowerment through education, those are things that I love.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and if you had to go back in time, right, a couple of years, what are some things that you would have told yourself?
I like this. So I think, so a couple lessons. One, I grew up thinking there was one path in life, right? You found your career, you keep moving forward. And for me, that was in academia, right? I got it in really early. I became faculty really young, and I was supposed to just go that track, become tenure, be tenure, become chair. And that's all I wanted to do. Then later I said, oh, I like this. I kept going, right? But if I always felt that you just go through this trajectory, this one path, and that's it. Along the way, you publish, you present, you teach, and then I started feeling a little boring. That's that multi hyphenate side. So you're doing the same thing for too long. And I was scared to leave it because I thought that you only had one path and you needed to be in that one path to be successful in life. That's not true. You can pivot, you can move, you can have a broader path of empowering others to succeed and just take different highway exits and come back in and do other things. So don't believe in the one path. The other lesson that was really hard for me to learn was failing forward. And I've been
Ooh.
talking. I had a lot of issues with failure. Like if I
Mhm.
did something wrong, if I said something wrong, if something didn't work out, if a project wasn't successful, it was like the end of the world. I would get depressed. I would hide. There was some crying involved at times. I didn't. Not that I didn't have a growth mindset, but not getting things done right was very difficult. So it was really hard for me to learn this concept of failing forward. But once you embrace it, I mean, I saw so many other people in my tribe, people around me, who were failing forward in wonderful ways. And I was like, wow. And then because they failed forward, they just grew even more.
Wow.
And they just took failure differently, right? Learning, a learning experience. When I saw that, and it took a lot of work, but having that mindset, it's okay to fail as long as you're learning from it. It's like trial and error. Okay, this didn't
Mm-hmm.
work. This
Mm-hmm.
service, this product, this decision didn't work. That's okay. What did I learn? What worked? Okay, now let's try something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. And what were some of the tools that you used in order to be able to be okay with failing forward?
Definitely a lot of reflection. If you don't know how to fail forward, you also get consumed with feelings of I'm not enough, and then that imposter syndrome takes over. I saw that happen maybe like 2 years into the after the pandemic, or because I don't know what was going on, but there was just so many things not working the way I wanted. I didn't have the power for certain decisions on certain projects and with certain clients. And it just started to feel like, did I make a bad decision opening the business? Do I know what, it's like that. You just start questioning yourself and something doesn't work out and it could have been different. And then you blame yourself for not being stronger and fighting for that decision. Then you kind of hide. And it took a lot of work to say, stop, let's reflect. And and I really pushed the reflection process and really thinking for 30 days, what am I doing right? What are the strengths I bring to the table? I had to change my mindset. And then changing my mindset from each experience, from what worked, what didn't work. Not just that, but really the question, instead of, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, asking myself the question every day, what did I learn? What is the daily lesson learned? And switching out of that negativity to that learning mindset. Okay, today I learned that that I need to hold up my boundaries in this way next time. Today I learned that I actually do know what I'm talking about when I talk about strategic planning, because I saw that team do a great job with what I shared. So every day, what did I learn? Changing that mindset really made a difference for me in failing forward, but in so many other things in life.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What did I learn? I like that. And I like the fact that you said, over a 30-day period, sometimes it takes founders way longer to come out of that slum of, you know, I can't believe this happened, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, for myself, it took me a while, when my first business failed, to come out of that mindset of like flogging myself daily, So I'm glad that you shared that, because that is going to definitely help somebody in terms of how they reflect and how they look on the situation, instead of saying, this didn't work, I'm a failure. What did I learn?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Scientists do this, right? When there's a new discovery, a new medication, a new vaccine, they don't just try something from after they do some research and bang, it works. They fail forward hundreds and hundreds of times. And I needed to remember that too, to understand. And
Mhm.
sometimes failing forward meant throwing everything out and starting from scratch. And
Right.
sometimes it just meant this didn't work, but I learned this. Let me try this next experiment.
Awesome. Awesome. And with that new like understanding, how are you approaching everyday decisions?
First, I'm more at peace now, not as stressed or overwhelmed as I was for a little bit when I went into that dark place. Um, I think when I look at decisions for the business, first, I always think, what is our mission? What are we truly trying to do? And thinking about those services that we said we're providing. And if it's something different, then I look at it to say, were we thinking about adding this service? And if yes, is this the right time to pilot that service so
Mhm.
that we can open that area of service in our company? So I look at it from those angles, but I start thinking first, is this right for us? And I've had to say no to a couple of things because it's not right for us. But sometimes we don't have the bandwidth. And now I feel more comfortable being honest about that. And that happened recently with something I really did want to do, but we just didn't have the bandwidth. Some people were on vacation. I had an immersion. We just had too many different things on the table. And it was a short turnaround time. And it really hurt to be honest and say we just don't have the bandwidth. If I had taken that project, the team members who were working at that time, we would have been stretched very thin. We would not have been doing really well. We would have been sleeping. It was just too much. So I'm learning to be able to look at, is this the right kind of service? And can we truly take on the bandwidth? And if we can, how do we do it?
Hmm. And do you have any, through your wide breadth of different companies, are you using different marketing techniques for each one of those companies, or do you find that the same one works for every type of business?
Different. I think so the one thing that works for every business across the spectrum, whether it's a family business or one of the ones I'm running myself, word of mouth has been the most powerful thing. And that you get through that reputation, through the service you provide. So excellent service, quality service, and excellent service to the client has always been important across all these businesses. And I think that is important because it helps with word of mouth, and that's such a strong marketing tool. After that, we have our brand identities. So the way I brand, I have a podcast myself, Coffee and an Interview, where everyone has something to teach us. Let's have a cup of coffee and learn from someone. That's very personal. It's very much about everything. It's about menopause and living in your 40s and doing a pivot in life and avoiding burnout and mobility, especially now that so many of us work sitting down so much. And any
Mm-hmm.
topic is game, how to change your home and health and advocacy. And for that one, our marketing is very different on social media. We post more real stories. We're always posting lessons from these people who are amazing guests. And we're always talking to people like, yes, that's a great thing you did. Wow, I love this journal. And we really want to connect with the community. It's a community kind of thing. Different from ETE, where we're giving resources, right? We're talking about top skills, leadership tips in education. We're spotlighting educational programs. We're sharing content like how to help students develop belongingness, how to help students succeed through virtual exchanges and all kinds of things. So those are the things we put in ET. So our messaging and our brand looks a little bit different, and how we interact as part of that brand is different. But word of mouth is our number one method, and then social media, and I'm including in there MailChimps. So I use MailChimp newsletters, but newsletters,
Mm-hmm.
emails, communications, and social media together, that brand. That's important. Um, because you want to build community. You want
Right.
people to always hear from you. You don't want to forget about you.
Right. Right. And you know what? That's truly, truly important. Community is important, definitely, because I think community does definitely not just drive revenue, and not just keeps people, keep you top of mind, but also, you're building your tribe. The
Yeah.
tribe of people that and I truly feel that you always find and connect with the people that you're supposed to find and connect with. Yeah.
Yeah. And you
Yeah.
can always learn.
Mm-hmm.
People, we have so many amazing experiences, and you can always learn from anyone if you just take time to have a conversation and listen.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something amazing you can learn, and vice versa, that you might be able to teach someone. So pay
Mm-hmm.
it forward also.
I agree. I definitely agree. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Jacqueline, thank you so much for coming on today. How can our listeners find you? I know you told them about the podcast, but tell them your social handles if they're listening.
Yeah, so we'll start with my personal, because you can connect to everything through there, JacquelinePena.com. And for our company, Empowerment to Education, it's etconsulting.com. And Coffee and an Interview is our podcast, coffeeandaninterview.com. Pretty straightforward, but everything you can find at JacquelinePena.com as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Jacqueline, thank you so much for coming on today. It has been a delight.
Oh, I've enjoyed. Thank you so much. This is like also business therapy. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Have a wonderful rest of your day.